Hi. So I've been meaning to make this video for a while, and the video that this was supposed to be was on kind of like a Redstone Basics video. Particular because a lot of people, we've seen to gotten a big influx of people in the Storage Tech Discord who want to do, all kinds of cool stuff like encoded and storage and stuff, but don't really have a good Redstone background. And this video kind of sat in my drafts folder for a really long time, and I never really went anywhere with it. And I kind of got to thinking, what can I add to the whole Redstone Basics tube thing that someone else hasn't already? Because there are multitudes of Redstone Basics videos everywhere on YouTube. Logical Geek Boy has a good one. I don't know any others off the top of my head, but and even stuff like how a repeater works, you can kind of just mess around with carpet tick step in game and kind of figure it out. And then I kind of realized, as I was reading through my draft, the thing that I really want to explain that goes really underappreciated in a lot of Redstone Basics videos is the concept of a block update. And to understand why we have block updates and where they come from, actually, before we get to that, block updates, a lot of people also ask about quasi-connectivity. I'm in Andrews's, I think it's his simple red coder video, world download, but it's convenient because it has a lot of cool contraptions set up. A lot of people ask about QC, and a lot of the explanations, while they're very good and very correct, kind of gloss over the important bit about a block update, because they kind of assume that, well, okay, if it powers this block, then it powers the dropper, but then it doesn't receive block update. But then what is a block update? Well, no block provides block update, but what is a block update? So let's kind of go back to the start. I'm going to set the carpet command interaction updates to false. Minecraft fundamentally is a simulation. Most video games are simulations of some kind. Minecraft is a sandbox, block game, block-based simulation game that's supposed to, in some way, shape, or form, simulate real life. And these block things make the world a lot simpler and allow a lot more kind of customization of the world, if you will. It's one of the reasons Minecraft has been so popular. But even though the world is subdivided into blocks, there are still a lot of blocks. In render distance, what is my render distance? 24. Although my sim distance is only 16. Yeah. So in 16 chunks, each chunk is 16 by 16 by, I don't know what the current world height is, but it's a lot of blocks, and you multiply that by however many chunks are in your in your simulation distance, and it's probably millions and millions of blocks. So let's say that I had a piston here, and now I give it some kind of power. I give it a redstone block. Obviously, this piston should extend. The question is, how does the piston actually know to extend? And the answer is block updates. Whenever I place a block next to the piston, had I not set interaction updates to false, anytime you place a block, let's say this redstone block up here, this block will send an interaction block update to every block directly adjacent to it. Okay? That means that if this piston is here, oh, now it extends. What did I do? Oh, that's weird. Must be that if I place the red... whatever. Ignore that blooper. Pretend that didn't happen. Normally when you place this redstone block here, because this piston is directly adjacent to the redstone block, it sends a block update to the piston. And that's important because block updates, one way of doing it is you could send a block update every tick, every 5 milliseconds, or 50 milliseconds, to every single block being simulated in the game. That would crash your computer. That's too many block updates for your computer to process, so this is a simplified version of it that's almost as good. The reason it's almost as good is because you can have quote-unquote block update detectors, or butted things. For example, this piston is currently butted. If I set this to true, and I just give it a block update, now it extends. Very good. So this is important because if you think about QC, and I'll just grab a dispenser for example, and I get a block out, I'll pay homage to Hales. When I flip this lever will send block updates to every block adjacent to this purple block. So here, 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 and I guess it does technically update the lever itself, but that no one really cares about that. Notably, this dispenser is just absent that. So if I turn this back off, you know, these are the blocks that it sends updates to. This dispenser is not one of them. So when people talk about a block update detector, this is what they mean. It's a block that is in an incorrect state because it's powered, but it doesn't know that it's powered. A more kind of, I guess, easy way of seeing this is if I grab a piston, let's say this piston, and I grab some blocks, and let's say I grab another piston, I guess, and I extend this piston, I place a block here. This piston cannot extend because the piston head is immovable. If I retract this piston is now butted. Cool. There are a lot of different kinds of block updates. Generally speaking, if you have a component that's powering a block, so if I grab, you know, comparator, do I have a repeater? Repeater, observer. These all power the red blocks. So if the repeater turns on or the comparator turns on, or sometimes even if it doesn't turn on, but you know, we'll ignore that for now, or the observer turns on, it will send block updates to all of the blocks adjacent to these red blocks. Oops, deleted the observer. That makes sense. That's good. So now, if we kind of go back to the piston and dispensers and droppers are doors idea, we get a piston, we get a door. So it should be pretty obvious that, let me get red and let's get orange. It should be pretty obvious that any block that directly powers the piston or this bottom block of the door will power the piston and the door. If anything powers here, 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 or here, or under the piston, it will also power the piston. If anything powers here, 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 or directly the door will power. How QC works is, let's take a glass block. Maybe not tinted glass. Let's take white stained glass. Take a glass block, and now let's get our orange concrete and put orange concrete adjacent to every block on that white stained glass. And let's do the same for this iron door. The thing about QC is that if any of these orange blocks are directly powered, like so, this piston is powered, but it doesn't know it's powered. And I can show that if I just give it a block update. Likewise, although it won't become butted, this redstone door will open. That's the whole idea of QC. So now I kind of just want to go over some basic applications of block updates. So this is Command Leo's precision loader. when this comparator powers, this hopper, if I tick freeze, so I added an item, or multiple items to this hopper, which sends a comparator update, which is a kind of block update adjacent, sends a comparator update to this comparator. This comparator in 2 game ticks will schedule to turn on. It will increase the signal strength of this redstone dust to 3, which will update this redstone dust to 2, which will update this redstone dust to 1. And I guess I should, while I'm here, kind of give a brief overview of the update range of redstone dust. The redstone dust update range will update 2 blocks away from it. So here, 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 and down here, and this block as well, and above it. So this redstone block will update this block, will power this block. Actually, wait, I guess it should also power all of the blocks adjacent. Man, no wonder redstone dust is so laggy, it powers everything. Anyway, this redstone dust will also update this piston, cause it to extend, which will send a block update to this redstone, to this repeater, update this, which will depower this, which will unlock this hopper, which can then pull an item and unlock the filter. When this box is completely full, this comparator will change the state of this redstone dust to 15, which will be detected by these observers. Now here's an important thing, is that if I just reset this back to 40 or 41 or whatever, I grab me some shovels. If I use redstone multimeter, I guess not yet, not redstone multimeter yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this observer is turned on. This observer will turn on in 2 game ticks, but you'll notice that it QCs this piston because it directly powers one of the blocks right above the piston, but it doesn't send an update to this piston. This observer, the update range of this observer, it updates this piston right here, which means that when this observer turns off, this observer will turn off after this observer has turned on. So when this observer turns off, this observer is already on, which will update this piston and cause it to extend. And if I get out redstone multimeter, you can see that right here. This observer turns on before this one turns off, even though it's in the same tick. So let's kind of take a discussion about how this red coder by Andrews works. These dusts will, the update will propagate down the dusts one at a time in order. That means that this observer will turn on, then this observer will turn on, then this observer, etc., all the way down the line. So this observer will power this block, but this block will power this dropper, but it will also QC, oh, oops, pretend that didn't happen. Pretend all of these are butted as they're supposed to be. So all of these will update and turn on in sequence. The important thing is what happens when they turn off. And I might have messed with this, which is why it well, this should be butted too, whatever. Should probably fix that, to be honest. There we go. Now they're all butted. So now what happens when they all turn off? And let me select a random one. Let's choose this one. So all of these are going to turn on. So this observer powers these two. This observer powers these three, although this one doesn't really matter. This one powers these, this one, etc. So what's going to happen, this propagates down the line, but also when these turn off is what's important. Because, and let me turn off interaction updates again. So when this one turns off, it will update this dropper, but it's still being powered by this observer in the same tick, which means that this dropper will be butted. This observer will then turn off, which will update this dropper, but not this dropper, so it remains butted. This dropper is powered by this observer, so it will get butted, and this will propagate and continue down the line until you eventually get to this dropper. Because when this observer turns off, this dropper will be butted by this observer, but this dropper will not be butted by this observer. So if I untick freeze, perfect. And these are some logic gates that you can make based on based on block updates. So there are a couple nice blocks that send block updates when powered. The most common one are rails and note blocks. Rails and note blocks, rails actually send block updates 2 blocks down, but note blocks will send block updates to every block adjacent to them when they're powered. So if I turn on interaction updates, let's say that I power this observer. This observer will power this yellow concrete, and it will also power this dropper, but this dropper will not receive a block update. If I power this block, then it powers this rail, which updates this observer, but obviously this observer doesn't power the dropper, so it doesn't turn on. But if I power them both at the same time, then, also because of tile tick priority, but ignore that for now, this repeater will power this yellow concrete, which will power the dispenser, and simultaneously, this observer will power this rail, which will update the dropper and tell it to turn on. This is a decoder using OSS, but I don't have OSS enabled. I guess another thing you should know is that rails, and you might see a lot of these rail-based instant wires. The way that rail updates propagate, they send block updates. Let me get an observer. They send block updates front to back, but they send shape updates in the reverse order, and shape updates are what observers read. So if I attach observers to this, the way this will work is if I power this observer will turn on, then this observer will turn on, then this one, then this one, then this one. So if I just go down the line, if I go one more, we should see green, then blue, then orange, etc. And we do see green, blue, orange, etc. So, but rails also have a maximum range of 9 blocks. And what that means, I should also append, rails only have a binary state. They have on and they have off. It's not like redstone dust. Do I have a dust anywhere? It's not like redstone dust, where redstone dust has 15 separate states. Even though rails have a 9-block range, the state they don't send block updates to the other rails when that distance changes, if that makes sense. So how these rail instant wires work is, where's the head? And I guess I could do either one. Let's do this one for example. So this redstone block will power here, here, and here. It does not power this rail though. The important thing is that this rail actually does power this rail. So what happens is, I'm kind of doing this on the fly. Oh wait, no, this is the one that actually, this is the instant wire that actually matters. So which way direction does it go? It goes in that direction. So which means it probably updates, yeah, it updates here. So this observer, we get our pulse from the head of the decoder. Or wait, actually, this is probably an instant comp line. No, it is a decoder. Okay. We get a block update from the head of the decoder, which updates this rail. The update propagates all the way down because all of these rails are butted. You'll notice that they don't have a power source. All the way down to here. This observer reads it and sends a block update to this rail. And the way this works is this observer, actually, if we go all the way down, I should say, this observer will schedule first, but that doesn't matter. This observer will schedule first. It will power this rail. Then we go down, then this observer will power, it'll power this rail. But this rail will also, if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it will also power this rail. This observer will power this rail and this rail. And what's going to happen is this observer is going to turn off. It's going to update this rail, but this observer is still powering this rail. So this rail, even though it's powered, this rail is not powered. But it doesn't receive that update because this rail never turned off, and this observer doesn't update it. Same thing here, and it will propagate all the way down to the end, where it gets butted again by this observer because it powers here, here, and here. And of course this rail stays butted because this rail never turns off, because it's perma-powered by this redstone block, even though the redstone block doesn't power this rail. Rails are weird that way. It's called a rail diode. And the reason that works, it kind of works again, is because we're updating down here, which means that this rail will send shape updates first. I can't really think of anything else, so I guess that's all I have to say about block updates for now. Bye.